As the season changes, your wine list should change too. We could all use some tips on picking a good bottle of wine with great value. I caught up with Natalie Maclean, who is wine writer and also author of Unquenchable, a tipsy search for the world's best bargain wines. For her thoughts on some of the best wine values as the days grow shorter, you can watch this.
If we think of Canadian wine, we think Niagara first, Okanagan second, and that's kind of where most people's perception stops. We also think of sometimes the hangover from the 1970s or 1980s when we had grim wines, but so much has changed. The quality, the knowledge of the soils and the grapes, the winemaking techniques. I mean, it's spectacular what's happening now, and the price-quality ratio is there as well. They compete head-to-head with wines from other regions around the world.
Talk a little bit about some of the different, I guess, techniques in farming. I mean, some people want organic wine, some people follow the moon and when they should pick the grapes. I mean, how have some of these developed over the last little while in Canada?
In Canada, they are among the fastest growing techniques. So you mentioned organic and the stars and the moon, that's taking organic to another level, biodynamic. We have vineyards like Southbrook here in Ontario and many in the Okanagan that are practicing these as a way of taking better care of the vines. So of course there's the environmental advantage. There isn't a difference in terms of taste, and it's certainly not a health benefit to drink organic wines, but to practice organically in a cool climate like ours is tough, because we're battling mildew and rains and pests that, say, a warmer climate like Chile or Argentina just doesn't have to deal with. So it takes a lot more care of those vines, and that usually ends up as translating to better quality wines.
So let's talk about some of the regions a little bit. When we think of BC wines, what type of wines are we talking about? What grapes, what maritages are those?
Right. So BC, even though it's technically a cool climate, it does tend to have warmer days, so it ripens those big reds. They need a lot of warmth, a lot of sunshine, a lot of hang time on the vines. That's what creates flavor in the grapes and translates into the wines. So you're going to find them to be very successful with Syrah, Cabernet Sauvignon, and so on. That said, the Okanagan is, a fair-sized region, so you do also have your Pinot Noirs, your Rieslings, your cooler climate, more zesty, more acidity that those cool nights provide, and that's the balance that you're looking for. But the Okanagan has a spectacular range of styles.
And I wanted to ask a little bit about regions around the world. We often think of France, and of course France is made up of a variety of regions as well as Italy. If you were looking for the best deal from a region around the world that maybe most of us wouldn't have heard of, what is priced best, taste the most delicious, maybe from somewhere we don't know or do know?
Right. I think South America still offers really substantial value, and so what we might not know, we might be familiar with the wines of Chile and Argentina, but we might not be as familiar with the grapes that they produce that have that terrific price-quality ratio. Like in Argentina, you've got Torrontés, that's the name of the grape, and it's a very floral, white, delicate wine. Those wines are usually priced around $13, and they taste twice as expensive as they cost. They're beautiful. In Argentina, you've got Malbec, Bonarda, some very different grapes. And the best way to discover these is kind of, if you like this, then you'll like that. If you like Cabernet, you might like Malbec. If you like Merlot, you might like Bonarda. And it's a good way to kind of discover new regions, but also, more importantly, new styles and grapes of wine.
Great. Now you have a couple here that we might take a look at.
Absolutely. So if we do start in South America, I've got Pinot Grigio, one of the fastest growing white wines in the liquor store because it's light, it's white, it's zesty. It goes with the types of foods we eat these days. So we're less meat, more vegetarian, more crisp and light. So this is a terrific one from Grafigna. The four wines that I have here are all $13 or less because I'm always looking for that kind of value. So if we go back to Niagara here, we've got a Pinot Noir from Inniskillen. Beautiful wine, $14. They call it the Heartbreak Grape because it's usually very expensive to make, but they've produced a great value one. This is great for turkey, which is right around the corner. A couple turkey dinners coming up, but it's also very food-friendly wine. It packs flavor, but it's not heavy. So that's a great one too. If you want to splurge, sort of, again, thinking way ahead, I guess, to the holidays. This is a $30 wine from Jackson Triggs, Niagara. It's a Cabernet Merlot blend. It's got heft. It's beautiful. And, you know, they're emphasizing the soils. That's what makes wine. That's the wine's calling card, is where it's grown and its soils. This is $30, so that's your splurge wine. Now we get to Chile. Arizariz. It's a mouthful to say, but it's great to drink. It's Merlot.
Probably gets easier to say as you
It
go.
does,
Yeah.
especially, well, as you have more of it, yes. Merlot, they also have Carmenere. That's another lesser-known grape. It's not as well known. It originally comes from Bordeaux, and it is the parent, the related grape to Merlot. So this is $13, terrific value. And lastly, another floral white from Niagara. Blends are big now. Riesling Gewürztraminer blend, bit of Chardonnay in here, open, and it's $13 too. So you can't go wrong with that.
Fantastic. That's
Absolutely.
my favorite.
All
Natalie,
right.
thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Pam.
Appreciate your time.
All right.
So that was my conversation with Natalie Maclean. She's a wine writer. She's also the author of Unquenchable, a tipsy search for the world's best bargain wines. You can find information on all of those wines that she mentioned during the interview. That's on our website, and you also can take a look at the exclusive content we've put up there, where Natalie shares her top 5 tips on how to read a wine label. Often you can go into stores and feel somewhat overwhelmed by the choices. She gives you a few quick tips to see if there's good stuff on the label that can help you out. We also opened a very nice full body of Merlot for a taste. So go to bnn.ca for a look at some of those tips and also any of the names of the wines that caught your eye there.